Mayor of London, Mayor Kahn, is saying he won't allow Donald Trump to divide communities in the wake of Saturday's attack. The US president has again criticised him on Twitter. Mr. Trump accused the mayor of making a pathetic excuse for telling Londoners that there was no reason to be alarmed. In fact, the mayor said people shouldn't be alarmed by the deployment of extra armed police on the streets. Let's speak now to Corey Brettschneider, Professor of Political Science at Brown University. He's in New York right now. This does seem a curious way to treat one of America's biggest allies, or biggest allied countries.
Yes, I have to say this is a time to show solidarity with the people of London, with the people of England. And what Donald Trump has done is really an embarrassment, I think, to the United States. It does the opposite. It revives a rivalry with the Mayor of London at a time when we really should be standing together.
Why do you think he's done this? I mean, the two do have a beef previously, don't they? The Mayor of London previously spoke about Mr. Trump's travel ban. He called Mr. Trump a buffoon, in fact. He said, I hope he loses and loses big. And he said the ban was a mistake.
Yes, the rivalry goes back to this condemnation that Mayor Kahn made of our travel ban. And I think what's happening in the United States now might have prompted his comments. The courts, specifically the Fourth Circuit of Appeals, our federal court, has said that this is a ban that is based in anti-Muslim animus and that it is unconstitutional under our Establishment Clause. In other words, Donald Trump's core policy has no place in our constitutional culture and in our tradition. And I think this just revived the way that he was called out rightly by the Mayor of London.
Professor, just hold on a second. We have been hearing more of the Trump White House's point of view on this. Earlier, the BBC's Newsnight programme spoke to Sebastian Gorka, Donald Trump's deputy assistant, a senior advisor, for his take on those tweets. This was his response.
If this is going to be another discussion about a tweet for 6 minutes, then it really, again, is something that is unseemly. But the president was making a very, very valid point that we have to jettison political correctness. We have to apply honesty to the threat, and saying it's just business as usual, don't worry about a thing, a Pollyannish attitude to a threat that has killed 170 people in the last 2 years in Europe alone and maimed more than 700 has to be dealt with honestly.
Sebastian Gorka there. Well, Professor, are there fair points in there?
No, and Trump unfortunately echoed some of what was said there. He said that he preferred the earlier, the original travel ban, not the watered-down, politically correct version, the second one that he signed. And I think what that means is that he wants to be more transparent about the fact that he thinks that Islam as a religion is to blame, to be more transparent about his anti-Muslim animus, as the Fourth Circuit put it. And I think that he doesn't like being told that he can't do that. Now, what he's done is, unfortunately, is he's torpedoed his lawyer's case. He's been his own worst enemy and made it clear that the court was right, that this really is anti-Muslim animus. And this stuff about politically correct, that's just a kind of code word, I think, for what's really going on, which is hatred and prejudice against Muslims.
Just briefly, some are wondering whether this offensive but rather random white noise coming from the White House is actually an attempt to distract from the fact that the sacked FBI director is due to give testimony this Thursday.
This is a White House that's under siege. There is a possibility that President Trump engaged in obstruction of justice. There's a possibility that he had a high crime or misdemeanor and might be subject to impeachment. What that means is he's looking for any distraction, and it's a White House that's flailing right now.
Well, I'm sure the White House will have a view on all that, Professor. We hope to hear from them. Thank you very much.